Hey folks, today we're actually going to unbox a game that has been on the Corax and Coffee shelf for a while. 6 months ago it got tons of buzz, and I fear that maybe the buzz has come and gone, but I'm going to unbox it and talk about it at a surface level anyway because I've played this game, other copies of this game at friends' houses, and I love it, love it, love it. I'm so excited when it came out, as were many people. And that game is Ark Nova. So I'm going to unbox this copy, and let's get to it. So in order to do that, we've got to blend in with other animals of the animal kingdom, other than the most dangerous animal being humans. All right, we have the Ark Nova box here, and it is a big one, and it's gorgeous. It's simplistic in its artwork. We have blue sky and green earth, obviously, and the animals in between with the water. Very thematic, very simple. It's seemingly a lot of negative space, but this is some of the most gorgeous board game box cover art I've seen in a while. Just goes to show that human beings, we are animals and we belong outdoors, because just about how compelling these colors are. All right, so let's open this up. Look on the back another quick second here. We do have 14 plus, 1 to 4 players, 90 to 150 minutes. We do have a components list on the back and kind of a nice illustration of game setup. So, right away we are hit with tons of bits. Silica gel, do not eat. We are given a bunch of storage baggies, which I'm sure we will need. Hit with these 3 large decks of cards, which we'll get to later. I'm actually going to pull this manual out and flip through it real quick. So we have an illustrated itemized components list, a table of contents, an introduction and goal of the game. Then we have the setup, gameplay, the turn, and action cards. Lots of text illustrations, text. Oh, cute kitty. Cute, I think it's a beaver, right? Yeah. I've got this pelican here, adorable. And then we have a solo game on the back, interesting. So 20 pages of rules. It could be worse. It could definitely be worse. But you're not going to get through this in less than half hour, 45 minutes or more. And then we have some other things here. It's probably going to take more than 45 minutes, let's be real. Because we are hit with this massive icon guide. Tons of iconography in this game. But some of it, I mean, you see tons of icons, but it's really not as many icons to learn as you might think. Because you have the continent of Africa here, and that means Africa. You have the Americas here, and that means Americas, Asia, Australia, Europe. Like, you know those icons right away. Or maybe you need a remedial geography class, as most Americans, and by that I mean United States people too. I apologize that I said Americans for the United States. That's not cool. I'm working on it. But then you have things like bird, herbivore, predator, primate, reptile, bear. Those might take a little bit more work, except for bird. The point is that I'm like, these icons are going to take longer to learn, but most of these are pretty intuitive. So, and then on the back we have more player aid information. And then here we have a glossary, animal ability clarifications, sponsoring clarifications, text. So a bunch of clarifications for the rules. Okay. So here, these are pretty simple actually. There's really no need to get into this, but you'll see, probably don't even need to open these, but you have painted wooden cubes that have a couple of hexagons in them as well. Looks like about 20 wooden cubes and 3 hexagonal pieces, if you can see those, 1, 2, 3. And we have the same in red and yellow and black. Here, actually we'll open this up. We have some people. Looks like you get 4 in each of the same 4 colors: blue, yellow, red, and black. These are really like nice painted wooden components for the most part. I mean, you have a little bit of error there, but that's really no big deal. You can take a blade to that if you want to. And then we have this thing. I don't know what this is. I don't know if that's supposed to be scat or what, but it is a painted brown wooden piece. Okay. Now we have this board, and it's printed on both sides, but effectively, for gameplay purposes, only printed on one. I'm actually going to move this box a little bit here. So iconography, places where you put cards around the outside, probably. All right. And then we are hit with the actual player mats. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. And so kind of a place to put your zoo, a whole bunch of other iconography, place where your cards go down below, clearly. And these are printed on both sides, and they are different. You can see that just in where some of the icons are on the maps. And so there are 8 of those. Now, I guess you why we need all those storage solution bags. We are hit with 5 punch boards. So, they're printed on both sides, and you have these little mini hexagonal things. And these punch out pretty easily. I mean, you are going to be punching for a while, but I think these fit together on your player boards in various ways. Right? Yes? Am I doing this right? There you go. So I know I'm unboxing the game on Corax and Coffee here for the first time right now, but I have played Ark Nova before, and I really enjoy it. But I have to say that when it comes to the tiny little hexagons that you place on your tiny little zoo map, I hate it. I hate the tiny little hexagons. I hate the small zoo map. If it had been 50% bigger hexagons, that would have been fine. And I understand that there are so many other things to focus on in the game, but I have never liked games where you have to fiddle around with tiny little cardboard hexagons. Medium hexagons, fine. Large hexagons, great. And I know the game already takes up so many table space. They had to make cuts or sacrifices somewhere, intentionally or not. It puts the attention in the wrong place, in the wrong ways to have this tiny zoo board in my mind. And, if they had made the zoo boards double layered so the hexagons didn't move around as much once they've been placed, that would have been fine. Or at least better. They didn't do that. So I love almost everything about this game. But this is, for me, the tiny hexagons is actually a major complaint that I have. So do with that what you will. Let's get back to the rest of it. I won't punch everything out right now, but I will show you the contents of each of the punch boards. Right. And there are different places, you know, not just these, but you know, you have all these number tokens and their kind of signage things, and oh, that one just came out. More here, and then whatever this thing is. All right, we'll figure that out. We will figure that out when we play, or when we read the rules, or both, or when we'll figure it out after we have played like 8 or 10 times. So we'll get to this board right here in a second. But we do have some storage solutions. Are these made by Game Trays? They don't say Game Trays, so they're probably not Game Trays. Game Trays usually puts their logo embedded in the tray somewhere. But you do have these two storage solutions right here, which I'm sure you're going to want for all of these components. And you can just have them out. It will help in gameplay, so you don't have all these piles everywhere. And then the bottom of the box. So we'll put this to the side, and we'll move these cards that are right here. I'll actually move this coffee out of the way too. I think we're going to need the space. And I'm going to open up this game board, which is a trifold, and we're not going to have quite enough space to view everything all at once. I apologize. This board is probably 2.5 feet long. It is printed on both sides. We'll get to that, and you can see all of it right there. I'll flip the other side. Yeah, they're definitely, yeah, these two sides of the board are different, so yeah. Again, I apologize that I don't quite have quite enough camera to show off all of it, but you get the idea there. Okay, and now we have 3 decks of cards. I'm gonna take a minute to open all of these. Stand by. All right, so we'll just start over here on the left and show the backs of the cards, which are all the same here. You can have this kind of, you know, sky on the bottom and then earth, and then some kind of plains or desert area there in the middle. And then you have all of these animal icons. And this deck of cards, all the same back as well. And then over here, we have a few cards that have some different backs and different backs here. And then we have more of the same here. So we'll get to this large deck, which, by the way, is like that, right? Just for scale. And then we have these hourglass cards. So we'll start there. And we have large animal zoo, gain shield thing for large animals in your zoo, small animal zoo, research zoo, architectural zoo, conservation zoo, naturalist zoo, favorite zoo, sponsored zoo, biodiverse zoo, climbing park, aquatic park. And these do seem like standard size cards. And then in these cards here, we have species diversity, habitat diversity, Africa, Americas, Australia, Asia, Europe, primates, reptiles, predators, herbivores. I mean, that's weird that, I mean, yes, lions are apex predators, right? But there are plenty of reptiles and primates and they're predators, right? Herbivores and birds. And then we have these double-sided cards. So we have sponsors, association, build, animals, cards, sponsors, association, build, animals, cards. Okay, so you get the idea. We have repeats here. And then these are double-sided. You get the idea. Okay, so now we have this, we said, massive deck of animal cards. I'm just going to pick up a third of it or so and go through these pretty quickly. So Quarantine Lab, Foreign Institute, WASA Special Assignment, WASA Small Animals Program, Expert in Small Animals, Expert in Large Animals, Sponsorship Primates, Sponsorship Reptiles. I'm not going to read every single one of these. Super cute. I don't know if I like, love, or will tolerate the fact that you've got kind of a cartoonish look in the cards in some areas, and then you have these photographs in other areas to make it look more naturalistic. I think I do. I think in general, I have a hard time with unfiltered, high-res, not that these are high-res, unfiltered photographs in board game components to give that kind of hyper-realistic look. I think it reminds me that I'm not actually, like, I know sometimes they do that to try and be immersive, and for me, it kind of has the opposite effect. But in this case, I think I'd like it. The fact that they're not cartoons. Large animals. Oh, look at that croc. Okay. Second, third, roughly. Lots of iconography on these cards. You know, I showed you the icon guide. It's a foreign language effectively now, but once you play the game a few times, I'm sure all of this will be learned and in my head and in your head if you choose to get this game and play, or just play this game at Board Game Cafe or your friend's house or wherever you game. I mean, the fact that they made this game really illustrates how you can make a board game out of really almost any theme under the sun. I mean, there are many games that show that. It doesn't all have to be dudes on a map, Risk style warfare. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with that, but Siberian tiger, sun bear. Oh, so cute. So cute. Grizzly bear, jaguar, cougar, raccoon. I wish I could have a pet raccoon. He'd probably beat me up. I probably deserve it. Tasmanian devil. Oh my gosh, that is adorable. I'm a huge, huge animal person, by the way. I don't understand non-animal people. I think those are bad people. I understand, you know, allergies, fine, but like, people are like, I'm not really into animals. I'm like, well, you are one, so figure it out, man. We are getting towards the end. I just want to show you a bunch of cute animal photos. Really, that's really why I'm doing this. That is everything that comes in the box of Ark Nova. So if you happen to read the show notes that I wrote for this particular video, I'm not assuming that you did, I talk a very little bit about how zoos, at best, are in a moral gray area, in that, on the positive side of zoos, they're there to help educate the public about how animals live, what they like, what they don't like, how they impact us, and we as humans impact them. Although I don't like that dichotomy of animals and humans, because humans are animals, let's be real. Of course, I do understand why that dichotomy is made. I digress. So for education, conservancy, research, and helping us to understand how to better help animals and things like that, those are all wonderful things about zoos. On the other side of the coin, we take animals and place them in captivity without their consent, and many of them are miserable, and not all zoos are the same, but it's also a gateway that leads to animal research, leads to experimentation on animals, which can be awful. And look, I do eat meat, and I don't, people who are, vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian is very noble, and I think that's fantastic. And if you've been reading along the comments throughout this video, I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't throw bricks at animals, and respect animals, please, please, please. Treat all animals with deference and respect. This is kind of turning into a twisty, windy soapbox sort of a thing. What I'm really trying to say is, I love the idea of good zoos, and I love the idea of a good game about zoos that teach respect for animals, deference for animals, and the importance of conservancy. And I think Ark Nova does that about 90% of the way. And there's an expansion for Ark Nova coming in the not too distant future, so I'm excited to see what they do there, and I'm excited to see if they have a second edition of Ark Nova, where they can even talk more about conservancy and the importance of living in harmony with other animals. So, I know that's a lot, that's a little bit heavier than what I normally talk about on here, but I do think it's important. And if you ever throw anything at my cat or another animal, I will end you. So please do like, subscribe, leave a comment. Love to play board games with you. If my cat jumps onto the table and knocks all the pieces out of the way, then that's what happens. Until next time, I'm Pete Steele. Take care.